ZNS Network presents The Bahamas Tonight. This segment of the news is brought to you by BTC, powered by Lime.
I'm Chris Saunders as well. Unconfirmed reports have surfaced that National Insurance Board Chairman Greg Moss has been asked by the Prime Minister to step down from his post. ZNS News now understands that the request was made today, and apparently it follows the distribution of a letter from Moss to the media contradicting the Prime Minister, who said a corporate credit card issued to Moss was taken away.
Now, earlier today, Minister with responsibility for the National Insurance Board, Shane Gibson, responded to Moss's letter explaining that what transpired between him, Moss, and the Prime Minister regarding this credit card. Our Janae Noel Ferguson has that story.
If the Prime Minister said something that he didn't agree with, I would have thought that he would either go to the Prime Minister or come to me and ask for clarification. And so I just thought that he took a very unusual way of trying to have the matter dealt with.
Minister with responsibility for the National Insurance Board, Shane Gibson, says he's disappointed in the way Chairman Greg Moss released information to the media about comments the Prime Minister made last week.
I gave specific instructions to the chairman to discontinue the use of the credit card. I didn't physically ask him to turn in the credit card. I asked him to discontinue the use until we had an opportunity to have the audit completed. But once I told the PM he no longer had use, and obviously the PM would have taken a position that he didn't have the credit card.
Moss also took exception to comments attributed to the Prime Minister about freewheeling going on within the organization.
If the Prime Minister had thought that there was a free-fall since he appointed the current board of directors, then it was very easy. All he had to do was get rid of the persons who he thought were causing the free-fall. And so he was not referring to that. He was referring to what happened prior to May 7th. So I don't know how that was taken out of context.
In the statement, Moss says his name has been vilified and that he's watched with interest and later concern as those charged to respond with allegations have, for whatever reason, failed to do so or added to the vilification. He said that although he's a fervent supporter of the PLP, he is a nationalist first. Mr. Gibson also responded to this.
Nobody's going to pressure me into responding before it's time to respond. I was given a letter recommending that Cargill be terminated. I think that Saturday, the letter appeared in Bahamas Press. Right? I don't know who was creating mischief, trying to pressure me into agreeing for Cargill to be terminated, because it was only a recommendation. Once we decided that a forensic audit would be completed, then obviously you had to sort of back off and allow the process to take its course. And so when I read that letter, the only thing I thought was left out was and so I therefore tendered my resignation. I mean, that's unfortunate, but I mean, I don't see, obviously, I mean, I don't have a difficulty working with the chairman. I think he's a great person. We have a wonderful relationship, but obviously it appeared from the letter that he may be uncomfortable in his positions.
Moss also detailed other matters concerning the guaranteed letter to Doctors Hospital for a Grand Bahama resident and allegations that he made internal changes at NIB that were against company policy. These matters are currently before the courts. Now, an audit of the National Insurance Board is presently ongoing. According to Mr. Gibson, they expected the results of that audit before the Christmas holidays, but auditors requested more time. He hopes to have that audit in his possession by month's end. Janae Noel Ferguson, ZNS Network News.
National Security Minister Dr. Bernard Nottage is expected to address the nation tonight, revealing the questions which will be posed in the upcoming gambling referendum. Dr. Nottage says the referendum process is slightly different and takes place in the general election setting. The public will decide on issues and not candidates.
It's different from a general election in the sense that in a general election there are candidates. And so people are voting within a constituency for a candidate of their choice. In the referendum, there are usually questions that you are asked or propositions which are put, and the voter is to determine whether he supports the proposition or does not support it. And so, whereas in a general election, each voter in a constituency is voting for a representative each voter in the referendum is voting for the proposition, and so there's no constituency result. It's a national process.
Now, Dr. Nottage notes that persons have about 2 weeks to get registered for the poll.
People have to be registered, properly registered, and for this particular referendum coming up, all those people who are registered for the May 7th general election are eligible to vote in this election. In addition, if there are young persons, for example, who became 18 since May the 7th and were not able to register then, they can now register and vote. And if there were any citizens who decided that they didn't want to participate in the general election and didn't register and they want to register now, they can. But the cutoff date for registration is January the 10th.
Now, he says, leading up to the January 28th referendum, government is expected to launch a number of public service campaigns to ensure that the public is fully versed on the questions and the referendum process.
Well, the Free National Movement has announced its choice to replace Senator Shivago Lang, who resigned his seat effective December 31st. And today, that party leader, Dr. Hubert Minnis, told the nation that the newest member of parliament in the upper chamber is going to be, and we have Charisma Robinson to tell us exactly who that will be. Charisma.
Yes, Chris, the F&M leader says Bostwick's appointment represents the future direction of this country. His party, rather. He describes Mr. Bostwick as a visionary. Now, Mr. Bostwick, who was selected from a pool of 10 others, says his appointment to the upper chamber comes at a critical point. He pledged to ensure that focus remains on the myriad of issues which are hampering national development.
All right, Charisma, thanks a lot. We'll take a break and be right back. You're watching The Bahamas Tonight in HD.